scorcher here in Southern California, the Central Coast. We are expecting some very scorching hot weather. So we're gonna knock this one out real quick in the AM hours of the day. Welcome, Zero Nutters. Welcome to another fine episode in the Zero Shack. Welcome back and welcome Edgar Lozano. Thanks for subscribing, bro. By the way, speaking of subscribers, Nick Nodeste is indeed a subscriber, and you, sir, are killing it. I've been checking out a lot of Zero sites this week, just kind of surfing the internet, surfing YouTube, trying to find the depths and the center, the heart, the core of the Zero world, and who is doing what and why and where and how high. Let's get into this show right away. Let's just kick it off. Arlo has been, he kind of has some twisted thoughts in his brain. Arlo, you got to stop with this doomsday scenario stuff in your brain. You got to be confident. You got to be positive. But he does have a good question regarding what if? Arlo wants to know what would happen if, while you're flying, all of a sudden your app crashed. So imagine this. Hold on, let me set this up. Here we go. Flying with your Zero, all of a sudden, in the middle of flight, the app on your phone crashes. Boom, it goes back like you're looking at the time. You're looking at your, Flipboard. You're seeing the date on your phone, not the Zero app at all. What would happen? What would your Zero controller do at that point? Would it simply do nothing and you would lose screen and fly back, or would it automatically turn home? What exactly would happen at that point? Well, Mr. Lowe, this is my uneducated guess. You see, the app itself, as far as I'm concerned, has nothing to do, as far as I know, with the actual flight. It is not the flight and accurate flight of it returning, turning left, right, forward, up and down, has nothing to do with the app on this phone. The app is just supporting the camera function, allowing you to see where the camera and the gimbal are going. What is really important is this radio receiver, which brings, in my mind, a really more significant question, a far more dangerous question, and one that I've often asked myself, and woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, because I had terrible dreams of this happening. You see this back little receiver here? This is the range extender. This is what provides that extended signal to the camera and the range, safe flight as far as I know, of the quadcopter. Now this, oh my gosh, look how easy that pops off after a little bit. I've had this just over a year, and this is becoming very much too easy to simply slide off. Sometimes I have dreams that I'm flying, I accidentally oh no. Now, my friends, if this were to fall off mid-flight, I do believe you would be up shit creek in a very big way. I'm never going to try this, because I think that is completely insane. I do believe if the range extender were to fall off mid-flight, you would have some serious problems, maybe a flyaway. Who knows? Anyone daring enough to try it, want to find out what would really happen, be my guest. Bottom line, if the app crashes while you're flying, I think the app's just going to crash while you're flying. In fact, the good news is, when I first bought this drone, I did not perform the original update. And what would happen is if you go to earlier videos, I would take off on these flights, and about a minute into the flight, I would lose complete control. I mean, the screen would just freeze up. So the app might as well have crashed. I can't see real time where I'm going. It just stops because the signal disconnected. The good news is that when I got home and put the card in the computer, all that footage was still there. It was still recording. I just wasn't getting a live relay of, the feedback. So Arlo, I think to answer the question on a completely unfounded basis, and don't quote me on this, but I do believe if your app crashes during flight, you are completely safe. Nothing's going to happen. You're just not going to get to see where you're going. Moving on, Pablo Licari, he is a thinking man. Upon watching the video of my handheld review, I don't know where that handheld is at the current moment, but remember I noted that I said the first 6 seconds, nothing's happening? Well, let's just go back. Remember I was talking about how even though the screen wasn't moving when I was flying the Zero without its updates, it was still recording. Pablo Licari is kind of on that same track. He's thinking, hey, Zero, you might want to check. It may be recording in that first 6 seconds, even though that is not evident on the screen. I'm not seeing movement on the screen, but there's a good chance that the camera is still recording during that first 6 seconds. Pablo, I'm going to check that out. I meant to do that right here on this in this show, just didn't have time, didn't work out. So moving on, Pablo, next time I will get back to you and we will get to the bottom of that. Thomas Herdez, woo! I think I got your name right this time, Thomas. Thomas, you, sir, are killing it. Yes, indeed, killing it of the week. Please stop by Thomas Herdez channel. The man is in love with the Zero, and it looks like his Zero is indeed in love with him. Not only has Thomas taken the Zero to heights far above communication towers and local forests, but he's made it a family event, and I love that! I love the family aspect. There's nothing better than family, doing things with your family and those who you love, building stronger relationships. Indeed, Thomas is out there with his family, and what can I say? It's really cute. Here it is. You are killing. Well, moving on to the meat and potatoes of today's show. I said earlier, I told you all I had been just watching over the last 2 weeks, last week, a lot of drone aerial photography videos, mostly Zero related, of course, because we love the Zero. And this is what this whole forum is about. How many times have we gone out, or have you gone out, and you go to a scenic, seemingly nice place to fly, you take your quad up, you know, you go back and forth, you record, beautiful day, maybe even the right lighting, right time of day, and you get back home and you put it in your computer and you start pushing play and checking out your footage in your editor, and there's just nothing. I go to the beach and I'll come home and I'm going back and forth. There's no meaningful footage there. There's nothing, there is no point where the viewer can rest their eyes, just simply rest their eyes. Everything, it's either going by too fast or it's happening in a very nonsensical, irrelevant manner. Which brings us to our next topic, Zero Nutters. We talked about many things that play into great aerial photography. Things that you can, like time of day, very simple things, and editing techniques, as well as, well, flight plans. Yes, planning out your flight beforehand. Flying a drone, getting great aerial photography is much like a performance in that you don't really get a second chance to make up for your mistakes. Time of day, clouds, no clouds, super clear, maybe there's wildlife out. Whatever's going on is only going on at that moment, and you must capture that moment at that moment. And to make it good, to make it real, you gotta do some planning. It sounds really weird, but you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan, as they say, and you have to plan things out. It's the same with photography, music, any art. The more you plan, the more you know, the better off you're going to be. And so let's talk about flight plans. Flight plans are just important, like I was saying, as the time of day you fly. Nutters, let us pretend that this is the area that you intend to cover in aerial photography. You, my friend, are standing right here. How do we want to approach this? How can we make sure, before we even take off, that we are going to cover all this space and get beautiful footage? Well, what we want to do is first take a look at where we're at, the dimensions, and then we're going to make a flight plan to ensure even coverage. Imagine we're mowing a lawn. So what we want to do first is, in our heads, or write down on paper, we're going to establish the shots that we are absolutely going to want to get. There's about 3 or 4 of those, and it's just going to be, once you do this, it'll just be standard practice to always get these shots. Let's start with shot number 1. It is the bird's eye view. Now these shots can also play into what is going on in front of you. Is there a tractor plowing through the fields? Are there people running? Is there movement? The shots can play into that and play in a revealing fashion. Shot number 1, we're going to do the bird's eye view. And that is taking the quad up, simply straight up, pointing the lens straight down, and getting that whole bird's eye view. You're getting the whole shot. It's a wonderful shot. It's a wonderful intro shot, or maybe an exiting shot. It shows you where you're at, or the whole compass of where you've been, excuse me. The next shot where you're gonna wanna get, doesn't matter which order, as long as you get these, when you get home, you're gonna be wonderfully surprised that you have everything you need to tell that nice little story of where you've been. The next shot we're gonna get is a low sweep. So if this were a field, say it's a beach, say it's ocean, say there's buoys out here, I've showed you the topical bird's eye view of the ocean and where people are swimming, surfing, the birds flying beneath as we've seen. But now I'm going to take you really low, straight over the water, out, perhaps around some buoys. And this is a low sweep, right along, as low as I can, along the water. Very exciting, very intense, lots of movement. Do this in level 2. Take it smooth and as steady and as fast. Level 2. Hopefully you got a little wind resistance to keep that tip up so your lights don't get in the way. Remember, if you got some onshore flow coming, put it in level 2, that onshore flow. If it's not a completely still day, you don't have to worry about it. It'll keep that head up. You won't have the lights in your video. Okay, so we have a bird's eye view. Now we have a low sweep. We're filling our shopping bag, our little photo bag, full of tools and things we can use later on, so that we don't get home and go, oh damn it, why didn't I ever do this? Why didn't I do that? And it happens to me all the time. I think it happens to everyone all the time. After the low sweep, we're going to do a mid-height sweep. So now we're not directly down over the water. We're at about maybe 12, 15 feet over the water. So now you can see slightly what's around you, more of what's in front of you, but you're not quite as low. Mid-height sweep gives you much more of a perspective of what's around you. What I found interesting is to do a nice little crescent moon, especially if you're a novice flyer and you're not too comfortable at making a complete circle. Let's just hack a complete circle, and we're going to use some editing tools to do it. So when you do one of your sweeps, say we're doing the mid sweep, we're going to come out and then we're going to start to bank left or bank right, and just start banking as far over as you can. And by doing that, you're going to give your viewer a wonderful, wonderful panoramic view as you bank as far left as you can. When you do the low sweep or the next sweep, do the same thing to the right. Bank, 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 all the way to the right. When you come into editing, you can easily make it look like you did somewhat of a full circle. I'm not really worried about getting back to coming around me or where I'm seen again, but I'm interested in getting all of this. I want all of this to be seen for my viewers. We've got a lot of material now. Now we're going to talk about B-roll shots. For me, B-roll starts right when I arrive at the beach, right when I arrive on the location that I plan on filming, the mountains, wherever I am. The first thing I do is break out my phone and I start getting some footage of anything that has to do, that tells a story, helps describe what's going on. That becomes the foundation of my B-roll. Often it'll segue between things within the video. B-roll is you just messing around. Boom! So that said, Zero Netters, plan your flights out. As ridiculous as it sounds, it doesn't take long. It's not even really planning. It is just a conscious, intentional effort to say, when I go fly, no matter how much fun I'm having, I'm going to do myself one big favor so that when I get home and put this in my editor, it doesn't seem like a complete waste of time. Because it's never a waste of time to go out and do something fun you want to do. It's never a waste of time to go out and improve your skills flying. Happy accidents happen all the time. And some of the best things, some of the most creative things you will do will be happy accidents, total accidents. But it doesn't always have to be a happy accident. You can plan it out by taking just a couple simple steps. Bird's eye view, low sweep, mid sweep, a low to left, low to right, and just squaring it off and covering your bases just like if you were mowing a lawn. When you get home, you'll be so happy. Nutters, we're coming to an end of another wonderful Nutter Shack show. Hope you all have a wonderful week. Stay cool, because it is going to reach the temperature of, did I say Mars last time? It is going to reach the temperatures of Venus which is like 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Drink lots of water, guys. Keep flying. Stay cool. And by the way, just a quick tip. You don't want to fly quadcopters in really, really high heat. The biggest reason is because of those batteries will overheat. You will destroy your battery and end up crashing and destroying your quad. Also, in high heat, the air becomes very, 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 very thin, and you don't get the lift you want to. Helicopters don't even fly in super high heat because you can't get that lift. Zero Nutters, have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.